What the heck is going on?
National Grooming Gangs Inquiry, that has said that it's specifically going to look at London.
Tell me about Sadiq Khan's team, because I gather they were telling some terrible, nasty, besmirching lies about you.
He described the whole topic as false, malicious and politically motivated. So he needs to apologise to the survivors. He was gaslighting them. That is disgusting.
Keir Starmer is soon to be departing from Downing Street. You want to share something with our viewers and listeners about him?
The thing that I was shocked by.
Hello and welcome to today's Daily Expresso. Now we have two jaw-dropping updates into one of our biggest investigations into the London grooming gangs cover-up. Joining me today, investigations editor Zak Garner-Purkis. Zak, please explain to me and the viewers and listeners what the heck is going on.
Okay, JJ, so what's happened is that the first thing is the grooming gangs, the National Grooming Gangs Inquiry, that has said that it's specifically going to look at London, which is a massive turnaround considering that we were sat here, I don't know, what was it, 8 to 10 months ago, and you know, it was because Sadiq Khan was denying that we had any London grooming gangs. So that's absolutely massive. The second thing that happened was there was then a story in the Sunday Telegraph that the Met Police had passed 4,000 cases over to the National Crime Agency Special Task Force that are looking into grooming gang cases that have been no further action. So, you know, ones where they've had information not followed up on it.
Well, tell me about Sadiq Khan's team, because I gather they were telling some pretty terrible, nasty, besmirching lies about you.
Well, I mean, the first starting point that I think that what we need to reiterate is when we went to Sadiq Khan in September last year and asked him about London grooming gangs, he described the whole topic as false, malicious and politically motivated. So he wasn't just saying you guys are lying. He was also saying, you know, it's effectively like a malicious lie, like a lie that's meant to stir things up. Fast forward to, you know, this summer, and we've got the government are looking at London. The one thing that we've just got to really hope is that they actually scrutinise this denial that went on before and how on earth they were able to do that and how they were kind of able to say that, you know, that when you get that coming back, you know what it's like when you put a story in, right?
Yeah.
If you get that coming back, it makes it really difficult. And that's what it was designed to do. It was designed so that we weren't going to do the story, right?
Yeah.
We then did it. We doubled down on it. We pushed them to the point that they then had to admit it. It then suddenly shifted over to, oh, actually, I've been leaving no stone unturned and, you know, I really feel for the victims and all of this. It wasn't that at the start. And that's one of the things that we need to keep reiterating that because it calls into question, why were these cases not dug into and why was it not being taken seriously? Why were they making those denials? And can they explain how they've done that 180? So
Sadiq Khan owes you an apology. He owes the Daily Express an apology, and he owes Susan Hall, who's a part of the London Assembly, Conservative member. He owes her an apology too, because every time Susan Hall has asked him questions about this on the record, Sadiq Khan has made her look like an idiot. He's treated her with contempt. Turns out she was right all along, as were you.
Well, the most important thing is he needs to apologise to the survivors.
Victims. Yeah.
That's because he was gaslighting them. He was telling them that they didn't exist. When he pretended, oh, I'm not sure, can the speaker be more clear? He's telling them that they don't exist. Those are the people that he needs to be down on his flipping knees apologising to, because that is disgusting. You don't treat people that have been through that with that kind of contempt, with like acting like they don't exist. You know what though? It's always the same pattern. These young girls get targeted because they are invisible, and what he did was just make them invisible, and that's what he needs to. That's who he needs to pay penance to. Apologies for us. I don't care. I don't need an apology. I'm sure that Susan Hall doesn't need an apology, but you know who damn well does? It's the survivors.
So how did we go from London having 0 cases to now 4,000 of them?
Right, well, I think this is worth digging into a little bit, JJ, because when that Sunday Telegraph story landed, it was the front page a couple weeks back. It's like, wow, you've gone from 0 to 4,000. Actually, when I saw that, it made me really angry, not because there was 4,000 cases because, as I'll explain to you, I don't think there are 4,000 cases. I think what they're doing is it's actually a tactic that Steve Bannon, Donald Trump's former advisor, talks about. He says flood the zone. So it's like basically what you do is like the media can only concentrate really on one thing at a time, or public bodies can only focus. So if you just flood information constantly out, they can't handle it, and you get a lot more stuff through. It confuses it. It puts your opponent on the back foot. Now, if we just dig into like why they've put 4,000 cases through. So they didn't explain it. It came out in the Telegraph. Then there was an insider who spoke to the Evening Standard, and he said, oh, well, we've used a broader definition to what the public think of as grooming gangs. Hold on a second. So not grooming gangs is what you're saying. So that 4,000 number is not grooming gangs. Now, why would you put over to the task force cases that aren't grooming gangs?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? Waste their time? Now, this becomes even more cynical when you look back and you go, why did the Met say that they had no cases? Well, at the previous inquiry into child sexual abuse, what happened was the Met stood up and they said, oh, they presented them all these cases in Tower Hamlets in East London. And the Met said, well, we actually use a different definition that's closer to an organised crime group. So we don't call it a gang for that reason. So you go, okay, so you set a definition where you've got 0 gangs, and now you've set a definition that you've got 4,000 gangs. Just doesn't add up. What I always say with this is put some of these scumbags behind bars. The way that you'll win the trust of the public is when you start locking them up.
So what made them finally admit that these gangs exist in the capital?
Well, it became... I mean, look, I think it was our reporting on it that we pointed to what was in the public domain. Well, after we did that story, The Standard then followed it up with a similar investigation that used public record. It was then followed up by The Times, Telegraph, and then eventually the BBC did something on it. And, oh, wow, actually, the inquiry looked at the BBC report. Well, lads, go and have a look at the Express's reporting, because we were there from the start. And look, I'm not saying... Look, good that the BBC did cover it in the end, but I think it's like people need to look at the full record of it. I've written a piece on it. We've done a video on it. You can watch it through and know everything that Sadiq said and when he said it.
Everything is digital now, isn't it? Your money, your photos, even your loyalty card at the coffee shop. So there's something quietly brilliant about owning one thing that isn't on a screen. Real gold bullion. The weight of it, the shine, it's just a lovely thing to hold. The Pure Gold Company, which was voted the UK's best gold broker, makes owning physical gold really simple. Tax-free gold coins from the Royal Mint with friendly one-to-one guidance from your first question to final delivery. There's no jargon, no pressure, no call centre queues. It's insured to your door or stored in a secure professional vault. So visit the Pure Gold Company today and tell them JJ sent you. So tell me about the inquiry, Zach, because what does it mean to say they're going to look at London when not so long ago there was no issue in London?
Well, I would hope that that's one of the reasons that they are looking at London, because we know that there's a pattern with all of these places where they say this doesn't exist, it's not a problem, it's not a problem here. Oh, let's water it down, let's pull all these other cases in. When I speak to Maggie Oliver, she's already lived all of this up in Manchester. They've already been through all of this process, and it's just tiring because it's the same thing again and again. And it's always like, let's look for answers, all the rest of it. I think one of the things, the good thing about the inquiry scrutinising London is the London Assembly doesn't have the powers or the people in positions of independence to properly scrutinise Sadiq Khan. Like he doesn't, what you see when Susan Hall's questioning him, that's the closest he really gets to being scrutinised. And does he ever answer the question? No. And why doesn't he answer the question? Because it's set up that he doesn't have to. If Keir Starmer did the same thing in the Commons, what would the Speaker say to him? He'd be on his case, right? London has a weak democratic system. I mean, you got this, Andy Burnham, he's going, oh yeah, let's give more power out. Power, make sure you're scrutinising them. Because I tell you what, if you're going out and you're devolving all the powers and then you're not giving proper scrutiny and oversight, what will happen? Corruption.
Yeah. Okay, well, you gave evidence at the London Assembly. What was that like?
It was a little bit intense, actually.
Really?
It was like, you're sort of, you know, you see it with like a select committee or something where you got all of these people with the mics and all the rest of it. But I mean, I was there to, you know, say what I've been saying to you, to also to be like, I still speak to survivors all the time, and I'm there to speak for them. So that's what I was doing there. But I mean, the thing, as I've spoken about in terms of like this lack of scrutiny, the thing that I was shocked by when I was giving evidence was the attitude of one assembly member in particular, who he just looked completely disinterested. He didn't ask a single question. He at certain points started speaking audibly to other people that were next to him.
Wow.
On his phone. And I was just appalled. Obviously, I wasn't going to call it out then and there, and I'm not going to name him because I don't want to get into that. But I just think it like
was he part of Labour? Was he?
I can't go into
Okay.
that. But what I would say is this type of attitude is the reason that these things happen. The reason that this is happening is because people act like that. No matter how much I would disagree with someone, if we're talking about organised child rape, I wouldn't behave in that way. It really depressed me because we need to keep vigilant and we need people to engage with this. Like, as much as I think Sadiq Khan has like made a ton of mistakes, we need him to engage with it, because guess what? He's not going anywhere as London mayor. He's going to be the London mayor. So we need him to take grooming gangs seriously because it's still going on.
Yeah. But actually, you can't tell us who the person was and what party they're affiliated to, but this is an elected official. This is someone who's been voted in.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They're all there. Look, the thing with the London Assembly is it is a new kind of democratic part of Britain. It's not like the House of Commons. But I do think we really need to, and so people don't pay as much attention to like these hearings and all the rest of it. But when it comes to something like grooming gangs, you're like, I was thinking that they would have the similar power as what select committees and all the rest of them do. And they have a bit, but we need to be giving these oversight panels, it needs to get proper powers to properly dig into it, and people that are going to be fully on board with the topics that they're dealing with too.
Well, let's talk about Keir Starmer. As you know very well, he is soon to be departing from Downing Street. And you say you want to share something with our viewers and listeners about him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one of the reasons that we didn't make this public at the time is we didn't want to get into like some mudslinging. But let's be honest, like the guy is now completely irrelevant. So I think we should make it public because it's really important for people to know what happened, which is after we did the story about the paedophile ASBOs, right? So, you know, and specifically Keir Starmer's role with that, his role in the Crown Prosecution Service, his office actually got very aggressive with us and complained to my bosses that we'd libeled him. Now, that's obviously something that is very serious to throw about. And it was also something that we were able to completely disprove when we found, already we stood by the story, but we then found further information that completely rendered any of the queries that they'd had with that completely, like, it just disproved them. But I think the important thing to say is, like, he was trying to stop us doing that story. His office were trying to stop us doing that story. They tried to intimidate us. Luckily, like, we got a strong set of editors that stood by it, and we kept doing more. We kept pushing, and we uncovered the truth about his role within the whole grooming gang scandal, that he'd presented himself in one light, but actually there was something completely different. But it's just been in the news recently that Starmer's government is trying to get YouTube to push Channel 4, Sky News, broadcasters, traditional BBC, traditional mainstream media on. Who said that? Who said that? The ghost. The woke, the very right wing ghost that we have that just floats around.
It's woke. So the Labour government are trying to get YouTube to push more content from BBC, Channel 4, Sky News, ITN, for example. For what purpose?
Well, what that means is, say I'm gonna break the fourth wall. What comes up on your homepage? They want to put Beth Rigby, Emily Maitlis, and all of the usual suspects in there. They don't want us there. You got to subscribe to us, like become a member, get fully engaged, because they're trying to shut it down. They don't want you to see me talking about the Starmer files, to me exposing Sadiq Khan. They want to shut us down. They don't want to make it an even playing field, because if it's an even playing field, guess what? People are interested in our stuff and we will get the views.
So what's next, Zach?
Oh, a lot. We're going. Like, look, we don't care how powerful you are, where your friends are. If you've done something wrong, if you're part of one of these dark conspiracies that, let's face it, we've had far too many of in this country, we're going to expose you.
Zach, if I'm honest, I do worry about your personal safety. I worry about your family. I'm not going to give any details about whether you have a wife or kids or anything, so I don't want people coming after you. But when you have, at the time, the most powerful person in the country, the Prime Minister, trying to besmirch you and silence you, I think that's dangerous territory. And when you've got the most powerful man in London, Sadiq Khan, when you're going to him and saying, these girls have been abused, we should look into this, you should look into this, and he's telling you, no, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Gaslighting you. I think that is dangerous territory. And I hope when you're doing these investigations, you are taking every single precaution you can so that you don't end up disappearing.
Well, look, yeah. I mean, I'll be all right, JJ. I'll be all right. But you need to subscribe. Like that's listen. Help, no. Help me keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'm not messing around, because you know how they do disappear you, right?
Mm-hmm.
They disappear you by taking your audience away from you.
Yeah.
They disappear you by making it so it's like the Express isn't going to invest in the Express report or Expresso or all of these things that are breaking the stories that the people actually want and the people actually need.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the key thing. Like, I don't want to be flippant about it. Yeah, I take my safety completely seriously, but we're at a moment here where we're breaking through and we're reaching these audiences. Millions of people have watched these investigations. Millions of people watch this podcast. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to pull that out and thrust something else in there that, you know, are they more friendly to them? Are they going to give them an easier ride? Are they going to be less aggressive when they go after these stories? Are they even going to consider doing something on paedophile ASBOs and dig out a document from 2011 that relates to what Keir Starmer was doing before he was in power? Because it was all sat there. None of them went after it. We went after it.
And our American audience will be familiar with this. One of our friends back in the US, a guy called Nick Shirley, exposed corruption at the highest levels in government, exposed corruption and fraud in Minnesota and in California. And what do? They passed, instead of investigating the fraud that he's exposed, they passed a bill in California called the Nick Shirley Law to stop him and other independent journalists from uncovering the truth. Rather than stopping the fraud, they go after the journalists. And that looks like what they're going to start doing over here too, Zach.
Yeah, well, look, the biggest way that we stop it is we start the movement. You know, the movement starts here. Back us.
Yeah. All right. Investigations editor Zak Garner-Purkis, thank you very much. Keep up with the good work. And thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit that hype button. Definitely subscribe. You'll keep us here. We won't disappear. Thank you. Bye-bye. Right. A quick pause in the podcast to tell you about our sponsor, Incogni. You had those phone calls from numbers you don't recognize, or you go in your inbox and there's emails for stuff you did not sign up for. Well, that's because someone somewhere is selling your private information. That's where today's sponsor comes in, Incogni. They will contact these people who have been taking your information and they'll say, oi, stop, delete it. Go to the website, incogni.com. You type in the details. 2 minutes later, Incogni is sorting it out for you automatically. And because I love you, I've got you a discount. It ain't 10%, it ain't 20, 60% off. 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Just go to incogni.com/Daily Expresso or click the link in the episode description box below.